Beneath the violet sky of Zyra 7, a lone elf woman named Lily crouched behind a shattered obsidian pillar, her silver hair glinting in the stormlight, her pointed ears twitching at every distant thunderclap. She was not human. Not truly. She was one of the last elven refugees from a forgotten world lost to time and war. Her emerald eyes scanned the ruined city, searching for her only companion. A small dragon, no bigger than a house cat named Ember, was not like the great fire-breathing beasts of old myths. He was soft-scaled with eyes like molten gold and wings that shimmered like stained glass. He had bonded with Lily when she was just a child on a dying planet and had followed her through every jump gate, every battle, every narrow escape. Now they were trapped. The city around them pulsed with alien energy. Ancient spires twisted like bones rose toward the storm-filled heavens, and the air smelled of ozone and burnt copper. Lily clutched the hilt of her plasma dagger, her breath shallow. She had come to Zyra 7 seeking shelter, rumored to be a neutral zone, a place where even outcasts could rest. But the moment they arrived, the sky split open and the royal fleet of the Kalari descended. The Kalari were tall, elegant beings with skin like polished onyx and eyes that glowed like dying stars. They ruled 1,000 worlds and feared nothing except one thing: the last elven bloodline. Lily was the final heir of the Star Elves, a race that once commanded the cosmic winds and sang stars into being. But that power had faded over centuries of hiding and running. A sudden crack of lightning struck the wall beside her, sending shards of black stone flying. She ducked, pulling Ember close to her chest. The little dragon hissed, his wings flaring protectively. "You cannot hide forever," came a voice smooth as silk yet sharp as glass. Lily looked up. Standing atop the broken archway was Princess Nira of the Kalari Empire. Her long silver robes fluttered in the storm wind, her crown made of frozen lightning crackling with raw energy. Her violet eyes locked onto Lily with terrifying focus. "You are mine now," Nira whispered. Lily's heart pounded, but she did not flinch. She rose slowly. Ember perched on her shoulder, his tiny claws digging into her jacket. "I belong to no one," she said, her voice steady. Nira smiled a smile without warmth. "You carry the blood of the first singers. Your voice can awaken the heart of the void. The Kalari need that power to end the endless war with the void." Lily shook her head. "I will not be your weapon. You do not have a choice." Nira raised her hand and the ground beneath Lily's feet glowed with binding runes. But before the light could take hold, Ember leapt from her shoulder. With a shriek of defiance, his small body erupted in a blaze of white fire. Not red, not orange, but pure white. The color of ancient dragon magic. The runes shattered. Nira staggered back, her eyes wide in shock. "That is impossible." The last white flame. Dragon died millennia ago. Ember landed beside Lily, his body trembling but his eyes blazing with fury. Lily placed a hand on his head, feeling the heat of his courage. She knew then what she had to do. She closed her eyes and began to sing. It was not a loud song nor a grand one. It was soft like a lullaby, her voice weaving through the storm like a thread of starlight. The air around them shimmered, and the broken pillars began to glow faintly with runes of their own, elven runes older than the Kalari Empire. Nira's soldiers raised their weapons, but their limbs slowed as if caught in honey. The storm above stilled. "You dare awaken the old song here?" Nira hissed, her voice trembling with both fear and awe. "I am not awakening it," Lily said, opening her eyes, which now glowed with soft green light. "I am remembering it." The ground trembled, and from the cracks between the stones vines of living light sprouted, wrapping gently around Ember, who began to grow, not in a violent burst, but in a slow, graceful, unfurling. His wings stretched wide enough to shield Lily from the sky, his body now the size of a small shuttle, his scales gleaming like moonstone. Nira took a step back, her confidence cracking. "You think a pet dragon and a half-forgotten song can stop?" Lily stepped forward, Ember at her side. "We are not here to stop you. We are here to remind me of what? That power is not meant to be taken. It is meant to be shared." For a long moment, silence hung between them. Then Nira lowered her hand. The crown on her head dimmed slightly. "My people are dying," she said quietly. "The void worms consume entire systems. We have tried everything. Then let us try something new, Lily said. Naira studied her face, searching for deception, but found only truth. She nodded once every well. But know this, if you betray the Kaelari Empire, I will not hesitate to end you. And if you try to control me again, Lily said, meeting her gaze, I will sing a song that unravels stars. A tense peace settled between them. The storm above began to clear, revealing a sky dotted with twin moons. As they walked toward the waiting royal skiff, Ember shrank back to his small form, curling into Lily's arms, his warmth a quiet promise. She was no longer just a refugee. She was a bridge between worlds, and for the first time in centuries she felt hope. The alien princess had come to claim her, but instead found something far more powerful. An ally, and somewhere in the distance the stars hummed a quiet song of return. On board the royal skiff silence reigned. The walls hummed with quiet energy. Panels glowed with soft blue light, and the floor felt warm beneath Lily's boots. Ember lay curled in her lap, fast asleep, his breathing slow and steady. Ira sat across from her, hands folded neatly in her lap, her expression unreadable. You do not trust me, Lily said, not as a question but as a fact. Trust is a luxury I cannot afford. Naira replied, her voice low, but not unkind. Then why bring me aboard? Because you have something I need, and because you did not run when you had the chance. Most would have fled into the ruins or tried to bargain for their life. You stood your ground. Lily looked out the window as the skiff rose above the ruined city below. Zira 7 stretched out like a broken jewel, its rivers glowing faintly with bioluminescent alchemy. People once lived among stars, not ruins, she said softly. We built gardens in orbit and sang to newborn suns. Then the great silence came. No one knows what caused it, but one by one, our colonies went dark. We lost our songs, our ships, our way home. Nira was quiet for a long time, then she said, The void worms are like that silence. They do not attack. They simply erase everything in their path. No wreckage, no signals, just empty space. Where a world once was. Lily turned to face her. Do you think the silence and the worms are connected? I do not know, but I intend to find out. The skiff entered the belly of the royal flagship, a massive vessel shaped like a crescent moon, its hull lined with glowing veins of energy. As they stepped onto the deck, soldiers stood at attention, their armor gleaming, their faces hidden behind smooth masks. Naira led Lily through winding corridors until they reached a chamber. Unlike the rest, it was open and airy, with walls of living crystal that pulsed gently. With light in the center floated a sphere of swirling darkness. This is the Echo Core, Naira said. It holds fragments of lost worlds, including yours. Lily approached slowly, her hand reaching out, but stopping just short of the surface. Within the darkness she saw flashes: a silver city, a great tree with roots in space, a chorus of voices singing in harmony. Tears welled in her eyes. They are still there, she whispered. The songs are not gone, just sleeping. Naira watched her carefully, then said, If you can wake them even a little, it might give us a weapon against the worms. Lily shook her head. Not a weapon, a shield, perhaps a way to protect what remains. Very well, Naira said. I will not force your hand, but time is short. The worms approached the core worlds. As if on cue, the ship shuddered. Alarms blared, red lights flashed along the walls. Report came, Naira's voice, sharp and clear. Void signature detected on the outer rim. It is massive. How massive? Big enough to swallow 3 systems at once. Lily's breath caught. Ember stirred in her arms, his eyes snapping open wide and alert. There is no time for debate, Lily said, turning to Naira. If you want my help, you must trust me completely. Naira hesitated, only a second, then nodded. What do you need? A place where the old songs can be heard clearly. A place untouched by war or fear. Naira's eyes widened. You want to go to the Garden Spire? If it still exists, it does. But it is forbidden even to meth and break the rules for once, Lily said, her voice firm. After a pause, Naira gave a single nod. Follow me. They raced through the ship. Ember now perched on Lily's shoulder, his tiny body tense with readiness. The alarms grew louder. The ship groaned as if in pain. Hay reached a hidden hangar where a small sleek vessel waited, shaped like a falling leaf. This is my personal skiff, Naira said. It can outrun anything. They boarded and shot into the void stars streaking past as they left the fleet behind. "Where is the spire?" Lily asked, at the heart of the nebula of whispers. "It is said that only those who carry a true song can find it." Then I will sing as they entered the nebula. Colors swirled around them, pinks and blues and golds shifting like liquid light. Lily began, to hum softly at first, then louder. Her voice weaving through the ship, filling every corner. Ember's scales began to glow in time with the melody. Ahead a shape emerged, tall and spiraling, made of living crystal and starlight. The garden spire. They landed on a platform where flowers bloomed with soft light and trees bore fruit that shimmered like galaxies. Lily stepped out, her bare feet touching the warm ground. She closed her eyes and sang the full song. This time, not just a memory, but a call. Spire answered. Light poured from its peak, forming a bridge of sound and energy stretching out into the void. Nira watched in awe. "This is more than I imagined." "The worms are coming," Lily said, "but we will not fight them with fur." The garden spire hummed with quiet energy long after Lily's song faded. The bridge of light still stretched into the void, thin but unbroken like a thread. Holding back, the dark ember lay curled at her feet, his breathing slow and steady. His scales, dimming from their earlier glow. Princess Nira stood a few steps away. Arms crossed, her gaze fixed on the distant edge of space where the void worm had paused. It listened. She said more to herself than to Lily. It remembered, Lily corrected softly. Nira turned, her violet eyes sharp but less guarded than before. "What now? The worm may pause, but it will not stop, not for long." "Then we go to it," Lily said. Nira blinked. "You cannot be serious. If the song reached it even for a moment, it means part of it still knows what it was before the silence took it. Maybe it can be healed." "Not destroyed, healed. A creature that eats stars." Lily knelt and stroked Ember's head. The little dragon opened one golden eye and gave a soft chirp. "You said your people tried everything. Weapons, shields, traps. What if the answer was never force but voice?" Nira was silent for a long time, then she sighed. "Very well, but I go with you." Lily smiled faintly. "I would not have it any other way." They returned to Nira's skiff, the sleek vessel, now humming with the echo of the spire's energy as they flew back toward the Kalari fleet. Alarms had stopped. The ship no longer shook. The void worm had not moved. It simply floated at the edge of the system, like a question waiting to be answered. When they boarded the flagship, the crew stared in stunned silence at the sight of Lily walking beside their princess. Not as a prisoner, but as an equal. "Prepare the envoy ship," Nira ordered. Not the war cruiser. The white sail. Her officers exchanged glances, but obeyed without question. The white sail was unlike any other ship in the fleet. It had no weapons, no armor, only smooth white hull and sails made of woven light, designed not for battle but for first contact. Long forgotten in the age of Juarez, they readied for departure. Lily stood on the observation deck watching the stars. Ember perched on her shoulder. "Are you afraid?" she asked him. He blinked slowly, then nuzzled her cheeks. He laughed softly. "Me neither." Ira joined her. Moments later, holding two small vials filled with glowing liquid star water. She said, "It is drawn from the core of newborn suns. It will strengthen your voice during the journey." Lily accepted one and drank it. Warmth spread through her chest like sunlight after a long winter. "Thank you. Do not thank me yet." Nira said, "If this fails, we lose more than a ship. We lose the last chance for peace." They boarded the white sail alone. No crew, no soldiers, just the two of them. And Ember curled in a nest of soft light near the helm. The ship moved without sound, gliding through space like a thought, the bridge of song still visible ahead, faint but guiding them like a path. As they drew closer, the void worm came into view. It was vast beyond measure, its body made of shifting darkness, dotted with cold points of light like dead stars. Its form had no eyes, no mouth, yet Lily felt it watching them. Ember hissed low in his throat. His wings half spread. "It is afraid." Lily whispered. Nira frowned. "How can something that devours worlds be afraid?" "Because it is lost." She stepped to the front of the ship and began to sing again. Not the full song this time, but a fragment. A lullaby her mother once sang on their home world. A song of roots and sky and quiet rivers. The worm did not move. But the darkness around it softened, encouraged. Lily sang louder, weaving in older words, words she had only heard in dreams, words of binding and remembrance. The white sail shuddered, not from force but from resonance. The song was changing the space around them. Light bloomed in the void, small at first, then spreading like ripples on a pond. Nira watched in awe, as tiny green shoots appeared on the hull of the ship, vines with silver leaves unfurling in zero gravity. "Your song is bringing life here. It was always here," Lily said, just sleeping. Then from the heart of the worm, a single note echoed back, low and broken, but undeniably music. Lily gasped. "It remembers." She changed her song to match the note, then added another and another, building a harmony with the creature of silence. The worm began to shrink, not in defeat but in transformation. Its edges softened, its darkness lightened until it was no longer a monster, but a being of deep indigo, with eyes like twin nebulas full of sorrow and longing. It spoke not in words but in feeling washing over them like a tide lonely. It said through the song alone, for so long the silence was not its choice. It was a wound. Tears streamed down Lily's face. She reached out with her mind and her voice, and offered a hand, not of control but of kinship. "Come back." The being hesitated, then drifted closer until it hovered just outside the ship. Its form, now the size of a small moon, gentle and still. Nira stood frozen, then slowly stepped forward. "What is your name?" The being pulsed with soft light. "Once long ago they called me Alara." Lily whispered the first singer, is the one who fell into the silence and could not find her way out. Lily's breath caught. "You are the reason the song stopped. I tried to sing a new harmony to heal a dying star, but the void answered instead and took my voice. I became what I feared most, an end instead of a beginning." Ember fluttered from his nest and flew toward Alara. The little dragon glowing with white fire, he landed on her surface and pressed his forehead to her light. A spark passed between them. Alara shuddered, then laughed, a sound like wind through crystal bells I had forgotten. Warmth. Lily climbed onto the hull of the white sail and walked toward the edge. Nira called after her wait, but Lily did not stop. She stepped off the ship and into the open void, trusting the song to hold her. And it did. Light wrapped around her like a cradle, and she floated before Alara, face to face with the lost singer. "Take my hand," she said, and remember. Alara reached out a tendril of soft light and touched Lily's palm. In that moment the past flooded back, not just for Alara, but for Lily too. She saw the star elves not as legends, but as people who loved and erred, who tried to fix the universe and broke it a little in the process. "We are not perfect," Lily said, "but we do not have to be alone." Alara nodded, and with a deep breath, she sang. Her voice was rough at first, unused, but it grew stronger, weaving with Lily's until the two songs became one, a duet of return back on the ship. Nira watched, tears in her own eyes, as the void around them bloomed with color. Flowers of light sprouted in empty space, and distant stars flickered back to life where the worm had passed. The war was over, not with a bang, but with a note. When Lily returned to the ship, she was changed, her silver hair now threaded with strands of starlight, her eyes deeper greener, full of ancient knowing. "You are more than the last elf now," Nira said. Lily smiled. "I am the first of something new." They brought Alara back to the Kalari homeworld, not as a prisoner or a weapon, but as a guest, as a teacher. The empire that once ruled through fear now listened to songs it had forgotten. In the grand hall of the capital city, Lily stood beside Nira and Alara before the High Council. "We do not ask for your surrender," Lily said. "We ask for your voice. Join us. Not in war, but in rebuilding. The silence is broken, but the song is fragile. It needs many voices to grow strong." One by one the council members rose, not in salute but in song. Their voices rough and uncertain at first, but growing clearer with each note. Ember sat on Lily's shoulder, watching with bright eyes, his small body warm with pride. That night under twin moons, Lily walked through the palace gardens, now blooming with elven flowers she had not seen since childhood. Nira joined her, holding 2 cups of warm starbloom tea. "You could stay, you know," Nira said. "The Empire could use your wisdom." Lily looked up at the sky, where Alara now orbited gently like a second moon, watching over them. "My place is not here." "Not yet," she said. "There are other lost songs out there, other broken places, other beings who forgot." "They could sing." Nira nodded. I thought you might say that. Then she held out a small device, a jump key encoded with Kalari clearance. Where to first, Lily took the key and smiled toward the stars. Wherever the silence is deepest. Ember chirped in agreement, leaping onto her shoulder, his wings catching the moonlight, and so the elf woman, the alien princess, and the little dragon prepared for the next journey. Not as fugitives or rulers, but as healers of the cosmic song, their story far from over, but just beginning to truly unfold. The jump key hummed softly in Lily's palm as she stood on the observation deck of the White Sail. The ship now refitted with Kalari tech and elven runes woven into its hull. Ember dozed in a hammock of light near the helm, his tiny chest rising and falling in peaceful rhythm. Naira stood beside her, arms folded, her silver robes catching the starlight from the viewport. "You are sure about this, Lily?" she asked, her voice low. Lily nodded. The signal came from the outer rim beyond the shattered veil, a place even the Kalari scouts avoid. They say it is where songs go to die. But you heard something. Not a song exactly. A whisper, a cry, wrapped in static. Ember stirred at the mention of his name and blinked up at them, his golden eyes sharp with alertness. Nira sighed and handed Lily a small crystal vial filled with swirling mist. "This is echo mist drawn from Alara's breath. It will help you hear true sounds even through the veil." "Thank you." Lily tucked it into her belt, then turned to the controls. The White Sail responded instantly, gliding away from the Kalari homeworld, its sails catching currents of cosmic wind. No engine needed, just intent and song. As they crossed into the shattered veil, space itself seemed to fray. The stars dimmed, and the usual hum of the universe fell silent. Even Ember's soft chirp sounded muffled. Lily opened the vial of echo mist and inhaled deeply. Cool clarity filled her lungs. Suddenly she could hear it, faint, but real. A child's voice singing, a broken lullaby over and over. "There," she said, pointing to a dark patch between two dead stars. The White Sail dove toward it, and as they neared, a small moon came into view. Gray and cracked with no atmosphere, yet on its surface stood a single structure, a dome made of fused glass and bone. "Who would build something like that out here?" Nira whispered. "Someone who had nowhere else to go." They landed the ship with a soft thud. The ground crunched underfoot like frozen ash. Ember stayed close to Lily's side, his wings half spread, ready to shield her. The dome had no door, but as Lily approached, a section of glass shimmered and slid open, revealing a dim interior filled with floating orbs of light, each one pulsing like a heartbeat. Inside, a small figure sat cross-legged in the center, a girl no older than 10 with silver hair like Lily's and eyes that held galaxies too old for her face. She wore a tattered robe stitched with star charts, and around her neck hung a locket that glowed faintly. "You came," she said, her voice the one from the whisper. Lily knelt before her. "Who are you?" The girl touched her locket, and it opened, revealing a tiny flame that flickered with blue light. "I am Maya." The last echo of the 7th choir. Lily's breath caught. The 7th choir was a group of elven scholars who tried to preserve songs during the Great Silence. "They vanished centuries ago. You are alone." "Not alone," Maya said. "I have the echoes. They keep me company." She pointed to the orbs. Each one held a face, a voice, a memory. "But you are still just a child. I was born from a song that would not die." Maya explained when the choir fell. Their final harmony took root in the void and grew me. I am not human, not elf, not quite real. But I am hair. Naira stepped forward, cautiously. "Why did you call us?" "Because the silence is spreading again." She said, "The void worms are gone, but something worse is coming. Something that does not just eat worlds. It rewrites them." Lily exchanged a glance with Naira. "What do you mean?" Maya closed her eyes, and the orbs around her swirled faster, showing images of planets where trees grew upside down, where oceans flowed through the sky, where people spoke in backwards words. "It is the unraveler. It does not destroy. It twists truth until nothing is real anymore." Ember hissed, his white fire flaring protectively. "Can it be stopped?" Lily asked. "Only by a true song, one that cannot be twisted." Lily looked at Maya, then at Ember, then at Naira. "I know what I must do." "No," Naira said sharply, "you cannot. Give your voice to hear." "I am not giving it," Lily said gently. "I am sharing it." She sat beside Maya and began to sing. Not the grand cosmic hymns, but a simple song of home, of warm bread and rain on leaves, of a mother's hand brushing hair from a child's. Maya joined her, her voice thin but pure, and as they sang, the locket's flame turned gold. The dome trembled and cracks of light spread across the glass walls outside the sky. Warped colors bleeding into wrong shapes, a massive shadow loomed. Beyond the veil, its form shifting constantly. Never the same twice, the unraveler it has found us, Maya whispered. Then we meet it, Lily said, rising. They stepped outside the white sail waiting behind them. Ember on Lily's shoulder, his body tense. The unraveler hovered above the moon, a being of chaos, its edges flickering between shapes, a dragon, then a storm. Then 1,000 screaming faces. You cannot fix what is broken. It hissed in 1,000 voices at once. Truth is a lie. Order is a cage. Lily stood firm. We do not seek to fix, we seek to remember. She began to sing again, this time with Maya and Nira joining in. Even Ember added his soft hum. The song was not loud, but it was steady, a single thread of truth in the storm of lies. The unraveler shrieked and lashed out with tendrils of distorted reality. But where the song touched them, they stilled and unraveled into harmless mist. It cannot touch what is real, Lily said. The being recoiled, shrinking back into the veil, its form dissolving into static for, now Nira said grimly, but the victory was real. The moon's surface began to green, tiny plants pushing through the ash. Maya's dome glowed with warm light. You must come with us, Lily said to Maya. The girl looked at her orbs, then nodded. They will. Come too as they boarded the white sail. The orbs floated in after her, settling around the cabin like fireflies back in Kaolari space. News of the Unraveler's retreat spread fast. Elara descended from orbit to greet them. Her form now calm and radiant. You faced the lie and held the truth, she said to Lily. We all did, Lily replied. In the days that followed, Maya was given a place in the New Song Council, a group formed by Nira to heal the wounds of the universe. She taught them how to listen. Not just with ears, but with hearts. Ember made fast friends with her, often curling up beside her as she worked with the orbs, his white fire keeping the shadows at bay. Evening, Lily found Nira on the palace balcony staring at the stars. You look tired, Nira smiled faintly. Ruling is harder than conquering. You are doing well. I have good teachers. They stood in comfortable silence for a while. Then Nira said, what if there are more like the Unraveler? Then we will sing louder, Lily said. And if our voices fail, then we will teach others to sing. Nira nodded. That is enough. The next morning a new signal came. Not a cry this time, but a question carried on a melody Lily had not heard since childhood. The song of the Twin Rivers, the place where the first elves were born. It is calling us, Lily said. Nira did not argue. She simply turned to the guards, prepare the white sail as they lifted off. Maya stood at the viewport, her locket glowing brightly. Ember perched on her shoulder. His wings spread wide. Where to now? Lily asked where the first song began. Maya replied, and so they flew not as warriors or saviors, but as listeners, as keepers of the light in the growing dark. Their journey far from over, but their purpose clearer than ever. The universe was broken, but not beyond repair as long as someone was willing to sing. And Lily would sing until every lost voice found its way home. The white sail cut through the cosmic currents like a needle stitching sky and silence together. Lily stood at the helm, her fingers resting lightly on the ship's songstone, a smooth crystal that pulsed in time with her heartbeat. Ember slept curled. Around it, his white fire dim but steady. Maya sat cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by her floating orbs, each one humming a different note of the old choir. Nira watched from the doorway, arms folded, but her eyes soft with something close to wonder. They were heading toward the Twin Rivers, a place spoken of only in the oldest elven lullabies. Two streams of liquid starlight said to flow from the heart of creation itself. No one had seen them in thousands of years. Most believed they were myth, but the signal was real. It came not as sound, but as feeling, a gentle tug in Lily's chest, like a memory calling her home. As they neared the edge of known space, the stars began to thin and the void grew quiet, not empty but waiting. Then they saw two ribbons of light winding through the dark. One silver, one gold, twisting around each other like dancers. Frozen mid-step at their center floated a small island of green and stone with a single tree, its leaves shimmering like captured dawn. The white sail slowed on its own as if in reverence. "Is that it?" Maya whispered, her locket glowing warm against her chest. Lily nodded, tears in her eyes. Yes. They landed on the island, the air sweet and thick with the scent of blooming night flowers. The grass beneath their boots felt alive, humming faintly with energy. Ember leapt down. First, his wings flared not in fear but in joy. He darted toward the tree and pressed his forehead to its trunk. A soft chime rang out through the air. The tree responded, its branches swaying though there was no wind. Golden leaves drifting down to settle around Ember like a crown. Naira stepped forward slowly. This place should not exist. Not after all this time. Places like this do not die. Lily said. They only sleep. She walked to the base of the tree and knelt, placing her palm on the roots. They glowed beneath her touch, and a voice rose not from the tree but from the earth itself. "Welcome, child." Lily's breath caught. It was her mother's voice, not truly her mother. She knew but the echo of all mothers, all who had sung to lost children across time. "You have carried the song far," the voice said. "Not alone," Lily replied. The tree's branches parted, revealing a hollow within it, and inside rested a small harp made of bone, and starlight, its strings humming with silent music. "The first harp," Lily whispered. "Take it," the voice said. "It has waited for you." She reached in and lifted the harp. It was lighter than air, yet thrummed with power as her fingers brushed the strings. A single note rang out clear and pure. The twin rivers flared in response, their light rising like pillars into the sky. At that moment the sky above them split, not with violence but with opening like a flower unfolding, and through the tier stepped a figure tall and slender with skin like moonstone and eyes full of galaxies. Alara, but not the Alara they knew. This one was brighter, fiercer, her form edged with silver fire. "I'm not Ilara," the being said. "I am Elira, the first singer, the one who began." The great silence. Lily stepped back instinctively, Ember hissing at her side. "You caused the silence," Lily said. "I tried to protect the song." Elira replied, her voice like wind through ancient trees. "The void was rising, and I thought if I sealed the songs away in silence they would be safe, but I trapped them instead and became the very thing I feared." Maya stepped forward, small but steady. "You are not trapped anymore, Lily." I looked at the girl, and for the first time her expression softened. "You are the echo of my regret. Made kind, then forgive yourself," Maya said, "and come home." Elira's form flickered. Then she knelt before the tree, her hands resting on the roots, just as Lily had done. "I have wandered so long," she whispered. Lily approached and held out the harp. "Take it, sing with you." Slayra hesitated, then accepted the harp, her fingers trembling as they found the strings. She played a single chord, and the twin rivers surged, light pouring into the tear in the sky, not to close it but to mend it. As the chord faded, the tear became a doorway, not to void but to memory. Through it they saw flashes of the past elven cities among the stars, great dragons riding solar winds, children learning songs that shaped clouds and tides, but also pain, war, silence, loss. "We cannot change the past," Lily said, "but we can choose what grows from it." Elira nodded and stood, the harp now glowing in her hands. She turned to Lily. "You carry the future now, not just the past." Then she stepped back into the doorway and vanished, not in defeat, but in peace. The tear sealing behind her, leaving only the twin rivers and the tree. The island began to fade, its edges dissolving into light. "It is time to go," Lily said. They returned to the white sail as the island vanished behind them, leaving only the rivers flowing through the void, now brighter than before. On board, Maya sat quietly, her orbs dimmer but calmer, as if they had found rest. Nira joined Lily at the viewport. "What now?" Lily looked at the harp, now resting in a cradle of woven light beside Ember. "I think the songs are waking on their own now. We do not need to chase them, we need to listen." As if in answer, the ship's comms crackled to life, not with static but with music, faint but clear. A chorus of voices singing, from a nearby system that is not Kailari. Lily said. No, Naira replied, "It is something new." They changed course following the song until they found its source, a fleet of small ships unlike any they had seen, built not for war but for travel. Their hulls, painted with symbols of stars and hands joined in circles, on the lead ship stood a group of beings tall and slender with skin like bark and hair like vines. They carried no weapons, only instruments, flutes, drums, harps. They are singers. Lily whispered. The white sail approached slowly, and the lead ship opened a channel. We heard the river sing. One of them said, their voice musical and warm. We came to learn. Lily stepped to the comms. My name is Lily. This is Princess Nyra of the Kailari Empire, Maya of the Seventh Choir, and Ember, the last white flame dragon. The beings bowed their heads in respect. You are the ones who broke the silence. We helped it, remember. Lily corrected. Will you teach us the true songs? Not teach, Lily said, share. And so the white sail docked with the singer fleet, and for the first time in centuries a gathering of voices began. Not from one world or one race, but from many. Through the night they sang songs of loss and hope, of stars and soil, of dragons and children. Ember curled up beside Maya, listening, his eyes half closed but content. Nyra watched from the edge of the circle. Her arms no longer crossed, but openly Lee sat among them, harp in hand. Not as a leader, but as one voice among many. When dawn came, not of sun, but of new understanding, the singer fleet parted ways, promising to carry the songs to others. As the white sail drifted alone again through quiet space, Lily looked at her companions. We are not the end of the story, she said. We are the bridge, and bridges are meant to be crossed. Ember chirped in agreement, fluttering to her shoulder. Nyra smiled for the first time in a long time, without weight, without war. Then let us build more. And so they flew onward, not to fix the universe, but to remind it that it was never truly broken, just waiting for someone to sing it back to life. The stars listened, and for the first time in ages, they sang back. The white sail drifted through a quiet arm of the galaxy, where stars burned soft and slow like candles in a temple. Ember lay stretched across the main console, his wings spread wide, soaking in the gentle light. Maya sat nearby, weaving strands of starlight into small charms, each one humming with a different note. Lily stood at the viewport, her fingers tracing the path of a comet that arced across the sky, its tail shimmering with silver dust. They had been traveling for weeks since the gathering. With the singer fleet, and the universe felt different now, lighter, as if a great weight had been lifted, not gone entirely, but shared. Nyra entered from the lower deck, holding a tray with 4 cups of warm root tea. She set one beside Maya, who smiled, without looking up. Any new signals? Lily asked. Nyra shook her head. Not songs anyway, but something else. Faint pulses from the deep rim near the Black Veil. The Black Veil was a region even older than the Shattered Veil, a place where space folded in on itself and time ran thin. Most charts marked it as impassable. Ember lifted his head and gave a low chirp, his golden eyes fixed on Lily. You feel it too, she said. He blinked once, then we go. Nyra sighed but did not argue. She had learned long ago that some calls could not be ignored. The white sail turned its nose toward the deep rim and accelerated, not with force but with purpose, its sails catching unseen winds that hummed with ancient memory. As they neared the Black Veil, the light dimmed and the stars seemed to hold their breath. The ship's instruments flickered, then went dark. Only the songstone glowed steady in Ember's coils. Lily opened the echo mist vial and took a slow breath. Clarity sharpened her senses, and beneath the silence, she heard it, a slow, steady drumming like a heartbeat from the other side of nothing. Someone is alive out there, she said. They crossed the veil, not with a jolt but with a sigh, as if the universe had exhaled. On the other side, space was not empty but filled with floating ruins, great shards of cities and ships caught in a slow dance around a single point of light at the center. And there in the middle hovered a being, not a worm, not a singer, but something older, tall, and still, with skin like cracked marble and eyes like twin black holes, yet from its chest rose a single vine with one white flower blooming. It did not move as they approached. Only watched. Lily stepped onto the hull of the white sail, Ember on her shoulder, Maya and Nyra close behind. Who are you? Lily called, her voice clear but gentle. The being spoke without moving its mouth. I am the Watcher. I have stood here since the first silence began. Why? To guard the heart. What heart? The being raised one hand and the ruins parted, revealing a sphere. of pure darkness, not empty, but full, pulsing like a living thing. The heart of the first world, the seed from which all songs grew. It sleeps here, safe from those who would use it or break it. Lily's breath caught. That is why the songs faded. They were cut from their root. The watcher nodded. You have brought the echo. The flame and the bridge you may approach, but know this to wake. The heart is to risk everything, for if it wakes wrong, it will unmake all that is. Lily looked at her companions. Maya nodded, her locket glowing softly. Nira gave a firm look that said, I trust you. Ember pressed against her cheek. His warmth a promise, we are ready. They floated toward the heart, the watcher stepping aside as they passed. Up close, the darkness was not cold but warm, like breath held too long. Lily placed her palm on its surface and sang not a full song, just a single note, the first note her mother ever taught her. The heart trembled. A crack appeared in its surface, light leaking through. Then a voice rose from within. Not kind, not cruel, but ancient beyond measure. Who dares wake me? We do, Lily said. Not to command you, but to ask you to remember. Remember what? That you are not alone. The heart pulsed again and images flooded their minds. The birth of stars, the first dragon's cry, the first elf's lullaby, but also the wars, the greed, the fear that twisted song into weapon. I grew tired. The heart said, I let the silence take me, but the universe still needs you. Lily said, not as a power, but as a pulse, as a reason to keep singing. The heart was silent for a long time, then it spoke again. Bring me the flame. The echo and the bridge. Lily stepped back and Ember flew forward, landing on the heart's surface, his white fire flaring bright. Maya stepped up next, her locket opening to release a soft blue light that wrapped around the heart. Nira placed her hand on the sphere, her Kaelari energy cool and steady like starlight on snow. Together they formed a circle of light around the heart. Lily began to sing again, this time with all her strength, not to force but to invite. The heart cracked open, light exploded outward, not blinding but gentle, washing over the ruins, the veil, the white sail. The light touched everything, and where it passed, broken things did not vanish but healed. A shattered ship grew new hull. A dead star flickered back to life, a dry river filled with clear water. The watcher fell to its knees, tears like liquid silver running down its face. Thank you. The heart shrank, until it was no larger than a seed and floated into Lily's hands, warm and humming. What do we do with it? She asked. Plant it. The watcher said. Where song is weakest. They returned through the veil, the white sail now glowing faintly with the hearts, light as they re-entered known space. A distress call crackled over the comms, not words but a broken melody. It is from the ash belt. Lily said, a system scorched in the early Kaelari wars. Nothing has grown there in centuries. Then that is where we go. Nira said, they arrived to find a world of gray dust and blackened stone. No wind, no life, just silence. Lily walked across the barren ground until she found a small hollow in the earth. She knelt and placed the heart inside, covering it with ash and a single tear. For a moment nothing happened. Then a green shoot pushed through the soil, then another, then a tree. Then a forest water bubbled up from the ground, filling dry riverbeds. Flowers bloomed in seconds, their petals catching the light on the horizon. People emerged from hidden caves, their faces gaunt but eyes wide with wonder. They had survived the war but not the silence. Now they heard it too. The song Lily stood among them, not as a savior but as a gardener. Nira watched from a distance, her heart full. Maya sat beneath the new tree, her orbs now blooming like flowers. Ember curled at its roots, his fire warming the soil. This is only the beginning, Lily said to no one in particular, and the universe listened. In the days that followed, word spread, not by comms but by feeling, a whisper on the wind, a warmth in the dark. The songs were returning, and they were not just for elves or Kaelari or dragons. They were for everyone who dared to listen. The white sail became a home not just for its crew, but for all who sought the song. And Lily knew her journey would never truly end, because as long as there was silence somewhere, someone would need to sing. So she would, on note at a time,